And just like that, we are back, you family that I love. I missed you, and it was only just a few minutes. This is Barbara James, and you are listening to Healthy Aging Radio Show. Here we are, and we are talking about staying on this road of wellness. Again, before the break, I said, Q family, that your families and people around you, your coworkers, your neighbors, they need you. They need you here. They need you well. You have a purpose here. And I don't want people walking around in defeat. All too often, I have people come into the store and they say the same thing. Bad diagnosis, family is broken, sickness, disease, everything is infesting their life, and they walk in defeat. And I'm here to tell you, stop it. Just stop it. You don't need to walk in defeat. Jesus, when he died on the cross, the whole reason for that was to take our defeat, take our bitterness, our sadness, all of that. He took that to the cross. How do we walk in this life with a bad diagnosis and still be a productive, member of society and a productive participant in our family? Let me say it that way. We still need to be participating in life, no matter what the sucker punch that Satan throws at you. And I had mentioned 1 Corinthians 13:13, and that verse says, and now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. Really, when you think about it, if we don't have those things in our life, we definitely walk in sickness. We could have all the money in the world, we could have all the fame in the world, but if we don't have faith and we don't have hope and we don't know how to love, we do not have anything. It's just how it is. Our hearts are empty. It's why we search for all the things that aren't good for our bodies, because we're missing faith, we're missing hope, and we don't know how to love. We search for alcohol, we search for drugs, we search for food, part of the life that you feel like you're missing out on. We search for those in other places. Now, if we want to live in a state of wellness, we need faith and hope. And when we think about that, faith really is the game changer to your wellness program. I mean, you need that faith. When a doctor gives you a diagnosis, you need faith. Faith is in trusting in something that you don't know what's going to happen. Faith is trusting in something. Now, all of us have faith in something. Some of you that are listening might not be Christians, and you're going, well, this doesn't pertain to me. This is about God. And it is in a way, but we all have faith in something. We have faith that the doctor will know the right diagnosis or the right treatment. We have faith that the car is going to start in the morning. We have faith that the mail is going to be delivered. And when you think about it, like, I never think if the mail is going to be delivered. I just know it's going to be delivered. I have faith that it's going to be delivered. And realistically, that's really how we need to walk in this world. We need to know that our life circumstance is going to change, that our life circumstance is just a season. And if we could look at that life circumstance as just a season that's going to change, and that we have faith that it's going to get better, we're not going to walk in defeat. Many times we walk in defeat, and it's that defeat that just escalates. It's almost like Satan gets in there and he causes this snowball of defeat in our lives. So the diagnosis is bad, and then we go home and the refrigerator breaks, and then something else happens, and before you know it, you're not getting out of bed because the defeat is overpowering and you can't do it. And I'm here to tell you that, remember faith. Remember that God has got you. Jesus is holding your right hand. That's what the Bible tells us. Nothing surprises God. When you get that diagnosis, or you step on the scale and it hasn't changed, or something happens, none of this surprises God. Now, today I really am excited about talking about two of my favorite stories in the Bible that are stories of faith and stories of hope. And I recommend, if you're a Christian, not a Christian, but all of you need to read the first two books of the Bible, Genesis and Exodus. To me, those books tell the whole story. And of course, go into the New Testament, Jesus dying on the cross. All the books of the Bible point to Jesus dying on the cross. That's what gives us the hope. And this isn't about religion. I want to just put it out there. I am not talking religion. I don't believe in religion. I believe in relationship. I believe in a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Amen.
I don't believe in a religion. I think religion begins to put people in a real ritualistic mode. And it's hard for us at times to break free from that. So I'm not talking religion today. I'm talking about relationship. I'm talking about where we find hope, where we get our faith, who we put our faith in to walk this life in wellness. In the book of Genesis, God calls Abraham. This is Genesis 12. The Lord had said to Abraham, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to a land I will show you. I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you, and all the peoples on the earth. So be blessed through you." So Abraham went, as the Lord told him, and Lot was his nephew, went with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. His wife Sarah, his nephew Lot, all the possessions they had accumulated, and the people that had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. Well, how in the world did Abraham just pick up everything and got his family together? Could you imagine that conversation with Sarah? He's like, "Hey, I just heard from God, and we're supposed to just take everything and pick it up, and we're going to go to this new place." Imagine that dinner conversation, how that went.
I can imagine.
It's like, what are you saying? But Abraham had faith. He had faith that God was going to do what God said he was going to do, and he had faith that these promises that God gave him of making him a great nation, that he would be a blessing and that he would be blessed. He packed everything up and off he went. And when we think about these things in our life, if we're holding on to pain, we're holding on to unforgiveness, we're holding on to lost hope. But today, we're going to turn that around. Some of you are holding on to this lost hope, things that you never thought were going to happen, that you've wanted to happen. And maybe, the way your family is today isn't the dream that you planned. But I'm here to tell you that we have faith. We're going to walk in the way that we have to and understand that whatever we're walking through at this moment is just going to make us better and more prepared for what is coming in the future. Familiar is easy. When we are in a familiar state, a familiar job, a familiar couch, a familiar church pew, for some of you we just had this conversation at work before I got here about the familiar church pew, where some of you can't even sit in a different part of the church. Well, you have to get out of that mode of familiar if God is going to use you and you're going to walk into a better state of wellness and a better you. Sometimes it's that chipping away that makes us the better person. I'm not the same person I was 5 minutes ago or an hour ago, honestly, or 2 years ago or 10 years. I'm clearly not the same person I was a lot more years ago. And that's had nothing to do with me. That had to do with Jesus Christ through me, chipping away. And I'm here to tell you that God is holding that right hand of yours. And when you think about a parent holding a hand of a child in a museum, how many of you have grabbed the hands of your children or your grandchildren and you're walking through a museum, and what do? They pull you one way and you want to go another way. Well, they're pulling you one way, and you're pulling the other way. Why are you pulling the other way? Chances are good you're pulling the other way because you know what's better for them. You know that the direction that you're going in maybe has more joy and more fun and more excitement in that museum than the place where the child wanted to go, because you know better. But for that child, the child's thinking, hey, I want to go this way. I want to go to the left. Why are you pulling me to the right? The child doesn't have the ability to know what is ready for them on the other side, but the adult does. And this is hope. This is that faith that we have in God. We have to know that God knows what's on the other side. He sees the larger vision of our life, looking down on that tapestry that we can't see. We don't know what's around that corner. We don't know what is coming ahead, but He does. And I'm here to tell you, when you stick to that familiar, you don't move out. Familiar sometimes that we hold on to isn't helpful, and it's causing us to have sickness in our body. And when we come back in the last segment, I have a segment of hope. So stay with us, Q family.